Hello friends, welcome back to Dance Jam Kitchen. I'm your host Donnell Barlow, where I teach you how to make delicious and healthy recipes. I drop knowledge bombs and we dance jam it out while the food is cooking. Today we're gonna make Native Warrior crepes. What that means is we're gonna start out with the fry bread crepe, then we're gonna fill it with a savory bison and sweet potato filling, and then finish it off with a sage-infused wild rice topped with cranberries and pine nuts. Let's get started. Okay, so now we're gonna put together our fry bread crepes. We're gonna begin with a cup of flour. There we go. A half a cup of cornmeal, which is also gluten-free and has a lot of fiber to it. To that, we're gonna add 2 cups of raw milk, and I like to use raw milk because it hasn't been pasteurized, and I'm a lactard, and so that's usually what gives me that kind of reaction. And I get it out of a local farm out of Othello, Washington. To that, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of ghee or butter, and also 2 tablespoons of our local honey here. And then also 2 eggs and 1 egg white. So we're just gonna whisk that in, and we're gonna let this batter sit for at least 30 minutes so that everything can just combine. All right, so go ahead and let that sit 30 minutes, push that to the side, and then we're gonna get started on our savory bison filling. So now we're gonna make our savory bison filling. We're gonna begin with a half of a yellow onion chopped and 2 cloves of minced garlic. And then we've also taken 2 tablespoons of that butter or ghee, and we're gonna heat that up and just let them cook for a few minutes. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on that bison filling. So I took 2 tablespoons of ghee, which is clarified butter, and the milk solids and impurities have been removed, so it's actually more tolerant for lactose intolerant people. And then to that I also added 2 cloves of minced garlic, and we heated that up for just a few minutes. And then to that we're gonna add our 16 ounces of ground bison. And so I got this from Edgar's Meats, and it's a local butcher shop here in Spokane, and they've been a family-owned business since 1935. And so we're just gonna get a nice brown on that meat, infusing it in with the onions and the garlic. All right, so I chose bison because it's actually more nutrient dense than beef, and it also has less fat and less calories. All right, so once we got that good brown on there, we're gonna add our other ingredients. I took a half a cup of that broth and pureed it with a half a cup of black beans in my food processor. To that, we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. This is 1 bell pepper chopped. You can use any variety. A tablespoon of our fresh thyme. And then I also have a teaspoon of sea salt, black pepper, and ground mustard. And 1/2 cup of sweet potato finely chopped. So we're gonna mix all of that together with another cup of our homemade vegetable or chicken broth, and then the rest of our black beans. So once all that's combined, we're gonna bring it to a boil, and then we're gonna let it simmer for about 30 minutes until those sweet potatoes are fully cooked. All right, so it looks like we got some downtime. Let's burn some calories. All right, so our sweet potatoes have cooked. It's been a half an hour. To that, we're gonna turn the heat down, and we're gonna add 2 cups of arugula, or you could use any other green that you might like. But I really like that peppery kind of flavor that you get out of arugula. And then a half a cup of diced tomatoes. So we're just gonna stir that in, and it's ready to go. All right, so now we're gonna make our wild rice. I've taken 1 cup of homemade vegetable broth, 2 cups of water, and then to that we're gonna add 1 cup of our wild rice, which actually has twice the amount of protein as brown rice and is gluten-free. And then we're gonna add to that 1 tablespoon of fresh sage, mixed with a 1/2 tablespoon of thyme. Bring that to a boil, and then once that gets to a boil, we're gonna cover it and simmer it for about 45 minutes until the rice is fully cooked. And then after that, you're gonna drain it and set it aside, and we're gonna get to the toppings. All right, so it's time to make those fry bread crepes. We've let it sit at least a 1/2 hour. So I have my crepe maker here, but you can also use a pan, or you can do corn tortillas if you're not wanting to attempt these crepes. First, we take our spray the crepe maker, and it's on like a medium heat. You don't want it too high because then it will burn the crepes. You won't be able to spread them thin. I'm using a 1/4 of a cup measurer. It's a perfect size for my crepes. So we're just gonna scoop that out, and then we're gonna pour it on the maker there. And then we have our little crepe ladle, and so you just wanna spread that real thin in a circle. Getting it all even. Just got a little cornmeal right there. There we go. And so that's gonna take about 2 minutes to cook on each side. So we got a little bit of downtime. Let's hit it. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. We're just gonna slide our spatula under and flip it over. And then we have a finished crepe here, so make sure that you have unbleached parchment or wax paper, because between each crepe you're gonna wanna layer them so they don't stick. And it does take a couple minutes to make each crepe. I prefer to make them the day before and set them in the refrigerator. You can always reheat them on the skillet or on the crepe maker. So that's the fry bread crepe. All right, so our wild rice is done, and we strained out any excess liquid. I'm just gonna put that into a bowl, and then add 2 tablespoons of our ghee or butter that's already melted, as well as 1 teaspoon of the sage and a little bit of fresh thyme for some extra flavor. And then we have some cranberries, and then pine nuts. So I took these pine nuts and I roasted them at 350 for 3 minutes. And pine nuts are great. They have omega-6 fatty acids, and they also have an enzyme that actually suppresses your appetite. So there you have it. It's our sage-infused wild rice with pine nuts and cranberries. So there you have it, our finished version of the Native Warrior crepes with a side of wild rice. You could also use corn tortillas, and I also did an even healthier version here with the salad, topped with a little avocado for some healthy fats, and a thyme-infused honey Dijon mustard recipe for that dressing. And you can get that at the end of the show, as well as all the ingredients on how to make my recipes and the local businesses that I like to give shout outs to. Thank you for joining me on Dance Jam Kitchen, sending you positive vibes from my kitchen to yours. Later, warriors. Also 2 tablespoons of our local Honey Rips Funny Farms. What is it? Darn it. Local honey, I can't say it. Honey Rips, no, I'm gonna do it over now. Can't really swing it around a whole lot. I don't know if that's a good idea. I'm just gonna dance, and I'm gonna try to not bend my knee. I'm just gonna not bend my leg. Just gonna warm up.